In today's video, I'm going to go over what I learned scaling my business, acquired from zero to $50,000 per month in under a year. So I'm going to go through the whole process, how I got started, and the three main lessons that I learned. These are just fundamental to getting me to this point, and I think they should be shared. I wish I watched a video like this when I first got started. I think it would have probably half the time that I got here, but we're going to cover all of that in today's video. So just a bit of background. I actually started my online business in July 2023. So far, we've actually turned over £200,000, and last month we turned over £40,000. Now, of course, that's pounds, dollars equivalent is about 50k. So it's not just for the clickbait headline. We actually did achieve that, but ultimately I've been completely and utterly obsessed with my business and growing it as fast as possible. I've been thinking about it genuinely every second of every day for the last year, and that alone I think what's got me to this point. I pushed myself to my limits, even to illness quite a few times, just through pursuing this growth so hard. I don't recommend this. It's not healthy. It probably hasn't made a crazy difference. I could have got here anyway about doing that, but I've just been obsessed. And more than anything, I wanted to prove it was possible. I had a very big point to prove after getting off to a bit of a slow start before I started this business and a few things happening. I wanted to prove to myself that I could do this, right? So there's three core concepts that I think every agency owner must understand to allow a business to scale, especially in its early days. So of course, these concepts are still very, very important 10, 20, 30 years down the line. But if you're starting today or you're in your first year or first 5 years of business, these three are absolutely fundamental to keep you in survival mode and to grow. Because that's the thing I've actually noticed. My survival mode mindset has actually allowed me to grow quicker. I'm not necessarily a scarcity mindset, but always every month we're from zero again. Every week we're from zero again. How do we build this up? How do we build this up quickly? So there's three things that allow us to do that. The first one's lead flow. It is literally impossible to grow a business without lead flow, let alone scale it. You can't even grow it slightly month to month if you don't have consistent new lead flow. Right? It's like a tap. You need the tap to be on. You need the tap to be gushing. If you want to fill up the bucket as quickly as possible, and the bucket could be your, goal of £1 million, what's going to get there quicker? A leaky tap that's, barely open, or a tap that's absolutely gushing. So you need lead flow. This is the number one thing you need to sort out fast, right? Ultimately, that's why I built my business, Acquired. We help other businesses with their lead flow because this is the number one issue that's stopping you from growing. We managed to figure this out very, very quickly and very early on, and we built systems that allowed us to have a very high volume of lead flow. So if you look at my calendar, for example, I do have a couple closers on at the moment, so they'll take some of these calls. But having a flow of new appointments is absolutely fundamental. These are our sales calls, right? Different colors to try and help me keep organized. But every week on week, right? We can go back, these all sales calls. So it's absolutely vital to have this lead flow. It's really, really important. Whether it's sending more emails, more DMs, or optimizing your scripts to increase conversions, you have to be making changes regularly that allow you to book more meetings, more sales calls with prospective clients. You can't just think of one script that you think is going to work and put some emails behind it. You need to be testing new things constantly to try and increase your lead flow. But ultimately, the equation for lead flow and what it's actually defined as is outreach times your appointment booking rate. So volume of outreach times appointment booking rate. So you have two options to increase your lead flow. Either increase your outreach numbers or increase your appointment booking rate percentage. There's nothing else you need to worry about, especially in the early days, in the first few years of your business. There is nothing else you need to worry about. How much outreach are you doing and how much is this converting? Change those two things and optimize both of them. You will not have a problem scaling your business. That's a fact. So here's how you can actually increase your outreach numbers. You can use different types of campaigns. So we use cold email campaigns. So we actually set up at least 10 domains, 20 inboxes, hook them up to a tool called smartly.ai and start blasting emails. When I say start blasting, I say it's in a jokey way. You're not just literally sending some sort of spam message to everyone and their grandma. It's still targeted, it's still relevant, and that goes into the appointment booking rate percentage. You can have a really high volume of outreach. If this is just zero, anything times zero is going to be zero. So you need to have a decent appointment booking rate as well. So it's not, but this bit is just how to increase your outreach numbers. So cold email campaigns, DM automation, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. There's tools for all of these, like Dripify or HeyReach is one you can use for LinkedIn. Add multiple accounts to that. For Instagram, you can use one called IGDM bot. Facebook, there's ones you can use as well. I think there's one called Leadbook. Right, we've used all of these before, but for us, LinkedIn and email are the big bookers of calls, and you just need to increase these numbers. It's as simple as that. It's not easy, but it's simple. You need to increase these numbers. So what you want to do, if you feel feel like, oh, I've only got one LinkedIn account, or I've only got 5 email accounts. Buy more. It really is as simple as that. You need to buy more accounts. And of course, it's very hard to manage. And that's why we do this for our clients. We manage multiple LinkedIn accounts, many email accounts. We're talking 30 to 60 any given time to achieve the level of outreach you need to have a good lead. Now, that's just increasing the numbers. As I mentioned, anything times 0 is still 0. So it's not just a question of increasing outreach. You also need to increase your appointment booking rate percentage. Now, how do you do this? There's a few ways we can do this. Create better scripts is the number one thing. Always be testing different scripts. And a key thing that we implemented in this to make better scripts was really understand the lingo of the audience you're reaching out to. So for example, when we're reaching out to recruiters, because we know we can help them, we want to use lingo that recruiters use, right? And what sort of dream goals and dream desires do they actually have? They want to work with companies that don't have in-house recruiters. So if you use this in your messaging and you say that you can set them up with appointments for people who don't have in-house recruiters, and we've got tools that can do that, then that's going to have a higher appointment booking rate because it resonates with them more. So creating better scripts is all about getting your script to resonate with your audience. That's super important. Keep them short and unique. That's always the best way. Stand out, but keep it short. I know Eric M is a really big guy in the cold email space, and I just watched one of his videos yesterday, and he compared 2 scripts. One was like fully AI generated, but really personalized. It's like 3 short paragraphs. And one was super basic, no AI personalization, and really direct and really short. And that one actually outperformed all of the personalization. He did go on to say when you do a mix of the both, it's going to perform the best, of course. But I thought it was very interesting. Even if it's not personalized and it's nothing crazy, short works best. And especially if it resonates with the audience, you're onto a winner. So that's one of the things. Simply create better scripts. Just don't do the same old stuff that everyone else is doing. How would you feel if we could book you 10 to 15 more appointments a month? Everyone is receiving that, and it's completely commoditized, beyond commoditized at this point. People get offended receiving that. So understand that and work on being different. Another way to do that is actually increase social presence. Post more. You might not think this will actually help your outbound lead flow, like if you're sending messages and emails, but what's the first thing someone does if they receive a message from you? They'll look you up. They'll say, is this guy legit? Is he trying to scam me? All of this stuff. And you've got to counteract that by showing enough social presence and social proof online. So YouTube, of course, is a very good one. That's why I'm making this video now. LinkedIn, Instagram, basically wherever your audience resides. If you have a B2B offer, business to business, then YouTube is going to be amazing for this. You can include YouTube links in your follow-ups, into your actual messages and stuff like that to redirect traffic. Automatically builds more trust, builds more authority, and builds more credibility. So that will help you increase your appointment booking rate. Another way you can actually increase your appointment booking rate is to incorporate better follow-ups into your scripts. So don't just blast one message out and go, oh, they didn't reply, they're not interested. I've landed a client recently that I followed up for 10 months. I followed up and I landed them. No one else is willing to do that, right? It's very rare. And that's why if you have consistent follow-ups, good follow-ups across a long time frame, you will win. You will win because the game is just about staying top of mind. People will need your service at some point. Only 3% of the market is ready to buy at any one time. So you just need to stay top of mind and they'll convert. They really will, but it takes a long time. In order for you to book more sales calls from your lead flow, you need to be doing one of these two, either increasing your outreach numbers or increasing your appointment booking rate. And you need to be doing this today, urgently. The second thing that I think is absolutely core and fundamental to scaling your business, and without this, I would not be in the position where I'm today, no way, is your sales ability. This one simply cannot be underestimated. If you're looking to actually scale your business or actually grow your business, you need to have a high performing sales function, whether it's yourself as a CEO, what I've been doing the majority of the past year, or building a sales team. Depends what position you're in. Now I am starting to build a sales team. We've got some great people, but up until this point, I've been doing it all myself. And sales is really the breath of your business. Like, it's the oxygen. If sales stop coming in, your business will die. It's as simple as that. No matter how good your product is, no matter how good your service is, no matter how good your posts are or your social presence, if your sales aren't coming in, business will die. It's as simple as that. Just being honest, sales can be brutal. It's very tough, and especially if you're not used to it. Like me, I was actually an engineer, mechanical engineer, working on motorbikes, stuff like that. I wasn't a salesperson, but you must invest in yourself to learn sales. It's just an absolute fundamental, especially if you're going to grow an agency, you have to. So going through a sales course was the best decision I've made, hands down. I literally remember I started tracking my sales calls. I went from Literally my first month, like 5K a month, instantly doubled it. 2 months later, 15K a month, tripled it. Purely from sales. Purely from sales. I was booking the same amount of calls, maybe a few more towards the end, but the sales is what made the big difference, 100%. So without good sales skills, even with good lead flow, you can still close deals, but they'll honestly be low value and low lifetime value clients. They will, because you won't be able to portray your skill sets as well on a sales call. You won't be able to build the gap that they need as well. They won't think they truly need you. They'll sort of do it as just like a trial type thing. With good sales ability, you get people genuinely invested into you, and that's really important for the longevity of your relationship and expectations. So you need to set expectations well at the start, and ultimately, you know, a good salesperson is going to do this. That's why I've got great salespeople now, because they're much better than what I can do. But I had to learn this all myself, and I had to go through months of just drought with sales calls, like literally 20 in a row, not converting, and it's extremely painful. You have to keep pushing. That's the main thing with all of this, to be honest. You have to keep pushing. Really, with the sales calls, especially that first call, you need to plant the seed in the prospect's mind during that first call as to what the relationship's going to be like. Really sets the tone and sets the relationship for the whole business to client relationship. It really does. So it's really important that you learn those sales. Now, in terms of just from a revenue and numbers point of view, taking your sales close rate from 15% to 30% is very achievable. You would literally double your business. Like, this cannot be underestimated. Of course, you know, if you're at like 5K a month, like I was when I very first started my first month, it will take you to get 10K. That's great. But where it actually has a profound impact is where the majority of these businesses these days, or old traditional businesses, do not have an optimized sales function. They might be turning over $1 million a year. This would literally take a business from 1 million a year to 2 million a year just from increasing your close rate, which is very achievable. You don't need extra resource to do that. It's literally just optimizing the current resource you've got. So it can be super, super fundamental and important to growth. So investing in a great sales function is core to any business. But if you're starting out, you need to do this yourself. You need to learn sales yourself. This is a bit of source about sales I've learned. Sales really for me is about truth seeking. It's about understanding the prospect's true position. So over the past year, compared to where I was when I first started, I've learned a lot about sales. Definitely not the best salesperson, I know that, but I've learned a lot. And the biggest discovery has actually been viewing it as truth seeking rather than actually trying to like sell people. Sales is not actually about trying to sell people, in my opinion. It's about understanding the truth, what's actually in their mind. And if you're actually good at what you do and you have a decent service, you've learned the skill itself, people will show interest. You say you do Facebook ads. Obviously, you don't want to sell Facebook ads, you sell the outcome. But if you're good at the process and you've got a few case studies and things like that, people know you're good at what you do. And at that point, if they're interested, if they booked a call, there's clearly interest there. Right? It's not about you need to hard sell them on why they should use Facebook ads and do this. They already know that. Point of the sales call is to seek out the truth of where they're currently at. So basically, when someone books a call, of course, like they've shown interest, it'd be tempting to try and sell the prospect. Just say, like, oh, this is why you should do this. This is why you should use Facebook ads. It'd be really good to grow your business. And you're sort of taking them along that journey, which is important. You need to have the dominant frame in the call. But 9 times out of 10, from my experience, maybe it's just me, the prospect will throw up smoke screen objections. So if you're an agency owner, how many times have you got through to the final stage of the deal, final stage of the call? They said they're interested. They say it looks good. They need to go and have a think about it. And then you never hear from them ever again. Or they say, send over the contract. I'll review it. Send it over to my email. And you never hear from them ever again. If you just try and sell people and get them to that point, you'd be happy at that point. You'd be like, oh yeah, I've sold them. Nice. But that's not the truth. Like, sales is about truth seeking. You need to stress test everything. And I learned this from one of the sales guys that we brought on. You need to stress test everything they say in terms of when it comes around to making the decision. So say someone says they need time to think about it. If you're just hard selling them, it's very hard to overcome this objection, or you might actually think they are truly still interested. However, if you have the mindset that sales is not about selling them, but it's about truth seeking, question everything they say and you'll validate it. Say, for example, say they're interested, but they need to think about it or speak to their partner. The truth seeking model that you should adopt in your mind will basically ask you, the prospect, if they're genuinely interested. So it'll prompt you to ask them. So say the prospect says, oh yeah, it looks great, I'm really interested, but just need to speak to my partner about this. The truth seeking part would be, okay, no, I completely understand you need to speak to your partner, but just out of interest, if they said they wouldn't want to do this, would that be a complete showstopper for you? It continues the conversation. If they say yes, it would be a showstopper, then there's not much you can really do there. That should have been addressed from the start. If they say no, then you can say, okay, I understand you're the person making the decision. I'm just curious, is this something you're sure you want to do? We've only had one call together. We've only spent 60 minutes on the phone or 30 minutes on the phone. I've shown you everything we do, but are you sure you actually want to do this? And this way, it's not it's overcoming their objections, but asking them about it. It's genuine curiosity and being genuinely interested in their position and trying to seek the truth out. So when someone gives you some sort of smokescreen objection, the best way to handle it, in my opinion, is just stress test it and see if they're being truthful. Because at the end of the day, sales is about being truthful. You're not going to hard sell everyone. Not everyone wants it, and that's just like the truth of the matter. You're going to get rejected more times than people say yes. But for those that do actually truly need it and truly want it, you want to be as seamless with it as possible and make sure they're really actually on board. If they have something in the back of their mind, they might be too afraid to say it. It might be a funny concern of theirs. If you just stress test everything they say and you ask them if they truly want this, then it will start to come out. They'll say that objection. You can overcome it and get one step closer to closing the deal. Whereas if you're just thinking about selling, getting them across the line, you ignore all this stuff because it's sort of in a way you want to avoid it. You want to avoid the pain of hearing no, but it's much better to hear the truth because it will make it easier to close the deal. So sales can be tough, but the deeper you dig, the better. Dig into their mind, get the truth out. So those are the two things so far: sales ability and lead flow. If you master them, you're not going to have a problem scaling the business. You really won't. The only other thing to consider, this is by far the hardest one for me to deal with, to be honest, but this is fundamental. Like, this is a fundamental of growing a business. This is something you cannot negotiate, and it's time. Growing in any realm of life, whether it's personal development, whether it's fitness, whether it's strength, whether it's business, whether it's relationships, takes time. It's oftentimes not about a crazy breakthrough or a new magic way of finding leads. It's about doing the same thing that works over and over and over and over again for a very long time. And over time, it starts to compound and you have this nice bell curve effect. However, it's very hard to appreciate that when you're just first getting started, because you're just going very, very slow and you feel like you're making no progress, which can be extremely frustrating, and you just want to be making progress quicker. But as time goes on, you start to see it compound, you start to see more of an effect. So I'm actually going to log into my Stripe, and this is just me being fully transparent. You can see, obviously, the month has just started, so I've only turned over, 1.3K. But look at the curve, right? Over time, it starts to exponentially go up, and that's what we're seeing. One of the biggest factors that people don't account for is actually time. In all honesty, I've been doing the same methods that grew my business in month one as I am now, just at a slightly higher volume, slightly more optimized, and just doing more of them and just consistently doing it. That's it, persistence, right? It's not always going to grow month on month. It should do if you've got lead flow and sales ability tick down, but some things happen sometimes, and that's just part of life. Something that you really need to understand if you're actually trying to scale your business is it's not an overnight process. Now, it kind of seems like I feel like I've grown a business like this overnight because a year is a short time period, but I've probably put the amount of work into this 1 year as a normal person does in 3 or 4 years, just in terms of hours put in. So there's no secret there. It's not like I've magically discovered something. I've just done 3 or 4 years worth of work in 1 year, and that's what people can achieve in 3 or 4 years. I've just compressed the timeline slightly, but it still applies that time is required, and it takes a very long time. So to be honest, I overlooked this when I first started. I actually thought it was cope from agency owners who weren't at like over 100k, because I just thought they weren't working hard enough. I didn't understand it takes time. It's just like I can't get my head around it because I'm very impatient as a person. I think it's one of my traits. It's like I want to get stuff done now. Obviously, I want that for my clients as well. I want that for businesses. Everyone wants that. But realistically, if you actually want to grow something substantial to a decent level, you have to account for time. Just takes time. That's it. And you have to be relentless with it. So at the end of the day, buckle up and prepare for a long ride. Those are 3 things that I've learned over the last sort of year. It's just coming up a year that sort of grew my business to the point where it is at now. No doubt we're going to review this and do another video next year, and hopefully this will be an extra 0 on there. As long as I keep ticking off these: lead flow, sales, and time, we'll get there. That's all it takes, and that's the mindset you've got to have. You will get there. You just got to have those 3 things ticking. So you work on other things in the back end. Keep working on your service, work on your social presence, work on your ability to speak, work on all of these other things. But the 3 core fundamentals if you want to grow a business are: how many leads are coming in, how many are you converting into sales, and how long can you do it for? If you tick those 3 things off, you will grow. If you're looking to scale your business and you don't want to have to put in all the time, all the sales ability, and all the lead flow yourself, then you can contact me. I'll have a link for my Calendly in the description, and we can chat about how we can help you grow. But thank you for watching this video.